Usually when a federal law clashes with a state law, the federal law wins. But not when it comes to weed. Right now, the federal government says marijuana is illegal. Yet a majority of states have laws that legalize it in some way. That's left weed in a weird legal limbo, and it's created a situation that is nearly unprecedented in U.S. history. The seeds of this issue were first planted in 1970 when Congress passed the Controlled Substances Act, or CSA. Its goal was to ban the use and distribution of illicit substances, including marijuana, as part of the Nixon administration's war on drugs.
Public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse.
Buried inside that CSA is a section known as the Preemption Clause, and the 76 words that make up that clause have helped states legalize pot more than a quarter of a century later. Remember, federal law usually trumps state law when the two conflict, but in the CSA's Preemption Clause, Congress basically said the Controlled Substances Act should not preempt or override all state drug laws. In other words, they intentionally made the CSA weaker than it could have been, limiting its power. So why did they do it? Well, they didn't really have a choice. Congress needs the states to police drugs. State and local officers make nearly all drug arrests in the U.S. each year. Say local police arrest a man for selling heroin in Georgia. Heroin is illegal at both state and federal levels, but the man will likely only be charged with a Georgia state crime. And that's good enough for federal lawmakers because it means there are fewer drugs on the streets without the federal government having to commit the money and resources to get it done. If the CSA Preemption Clause didn't exist, the Controlled Substances Act would reign supreme over the drug laws, and the federal government would be on the hook for enforcing it. See, the federal government can't force states to enforce federal laws. It would likely have to hire an army of DEA agents, appoint dozens of new federal judges, and build a patchwork of federal prisons to make up for the state's law enforcement absence. And the federal government doesn't have the resources to do that. That's why weed is stuck in this legal haze, because the US government relies on states to enforce its ban on weed, except some states don't want to do it. Congress could help clarify the situation if lawmakers rescind the federal weed ban, or they could even rewrite the CSA to alleviate this tension between state and federal law. But given the current political climate, the chances of that happening aren't very high.